We are live. We are live. Hello, everybody. Hold on. Let me change something here. Come on in, people. Come one, come all. Sovereign Artsakh. Welcome to the Armenian update or the Armenia update. What was I going to? I'm just going to change this background. Put Armenia. All right. Let's see. There's a couple of things that happened that I want to emphasize. Besides the Pope dying, okay, the Pope passed away. We are having seismic changes. There are Armenian Catholic churches and Armenian Catholic priests that does. Armenia, being the first Christian nation, has Christians of all sorts. Catholic Armenians are a minority. Protestant Armenians are a minority. The majority of Armenians are apostolic. For those of you who don't know what that is or have never known, a lot of people think the Catholic Church, or Catholics themselves will say that the Catholic Church is the first church, the only church, the church that got established, that Peter was the first pope, et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, Catholics. That breaks down, right? There's a breakdown in that lineage. In fact, Armenia was the first Christian nation. Thaddeus and Bartholomew, were the disciples that went to that region. Like Thaddeus and Bartholomew. That's how far, Peter, yes, he was going his way, doing his thing. And Thaddeus, Jesus said, go. And they all went, right? And started making converts. And so what we refer to, or you may have heard referred to as Eastern Orthodoxy, that's not Catholicism, right? Eastern Orthodoxy is something different than Catholicism. There's some similarities. They're traditional, liturgical, ancient, but they're not the same. And that also, Eastern Orthodoxy is a category and not a church, right? The Catholic Church, even though it has had a split, there's some split off from the Catholic Church, but it's pretty much a monolith, one church. Eastern Orthodoxy is multiple churches, such as Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, Armenian Apostolic, Coptic, right? These are all Eastern Orthodox churches that have similarities, etc. Because the Pope passed away. It's big news because it's a paradigm shift, right? It's a cultural paradigm shift. It's an opportunity. It's opportunity for the Catholics to vote in a conservative. And I've read articles to both, on both sides, that I've seen a chart that says the majority of those who are candidates for the Pope, the majority are conservative. The vast majority are conservative or moderate conservative. There's a very small fringe leftist group of cardinals, Catholic cardinals. So based on that, the likelihood apparently is that the next Pope will be a conservative. However, I've seen another article that was more pessimistic, saying, they're going to keep going left. And this was the most leftist Pope that has in recent memory or in modern times or whatever. That's not what I wanted to focus on. See if the article Christian or face on Holy. See if I can even find the article. Oh yeah, there's so much going on this month. Oof. There's bad stuff. Yeah, maybe I'll just get to my update. Oh, let me see this. All right, so I went to an event where this guy was speaking. What day was that? Oh, it was the 10th. The same day that I had my event, same evening I had my event at UACC, there was an event where this guy was the keynote, and he's the hot Armenian producer right now. He produced, I think he co-produced Black Panther. Did he do at least with? Yeah, I think he works with Michael B. Jordan a lot. So I think that's why he's producing this movie. Essentially, a movie called it's called Sinners, and it's like um, antebellum South meets vampires or something like that. It looks well produced and everything. It doesn't look like my not really my kind of thing. But let me read what this article. An Armenian American producer is making history in Hollywood. Sev Ohanian, known for his powerful and emotional storytelling, has once again captured the world's attention with his latest film, Sinners, the horror movie opening in theaters with a huge success, earning $45 million in its first weekend in the United States alone. That is a good open. It also brought in 15 million from international audiences, reaching a total of 61 million around the world. What's the record? What did it break? What's the record that it broke? What? This strong performance pushed Sinners to the #1 spot at the box office, beating other major films like a Minecraft movie. But this wasn't just a weekend win. Sinners is now being called one of the best horror movies of all time. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to see it. So Ryan Coogler. Sinners is directed and written by Ryan Coogler, and so Sev Ohanian. I have a friend that knows this guy who says, I want to introduce you to Sev, but it has to be the right time, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to be meeting Sev, but at some point. I was at the event, but I was just making an appearance there, kind of showing up. People know I'm there. Then I had to go to my event. Sinners is directed and written by Ryan Coogler and stars Michael B. Jordan in a rare double role. That's one of the things that when I saw the trailer for this, those kind of things really actually dissuade me from watching certain movies. People playing two roles or playing twins. For me, I'm sorry, it distracts from the story. You are supposed to not think about actors when you're watching a movie. You're supposed to not think about the actors and the setting and the movie making. When you're watching a movie, you're supposed to fall into the story. You're supposed to get lost. That's what storytelling is. You're supposed to get lost in the story. But when you have an A-list actor who's playing two roles, every time you see him, you are pulled out of the story, right? Now he's playing that. Oh, now he's on this. It's just, I'm sorry, that's a problem I have. It's a problem I have. And honestly, it really was the main reason I didn't want to see this movie. Oh, he plays two roles. I'll pass. But because it's getting good reviews, maybe I'll see it. Sorry. A rare double role. He plays twin brothers who return to their hometown hoping to start fresh, only to discover that something darker than they ever imagined is waiting for them. So it's a period horror, right? Period vampire movie, I think. With its haunting story and emotional depth, the film has touched both horror fans and general audiences. For many, it's not just the scares that stand out, but the storytelling. The film earned a perfect A score from CinemaScore. An honor no horror film has received in over 35 years. It also became one of the highest rated movies in Rotten Tomatoes history, surpassing iconic titles like Get Out. I don't know. I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes at all for, judging the quality of filmmaking. At the heart of Sinner's success is Sev Ohanian, an Armenian-American filmmaker and longtime collaborator of director Ryan Coogler. And they started on Fruitvale Station, which was Ryan Coogler's breakout movie back, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. Ohanian has worked on hit films like Judas and the Black Messiah and Searching, but Sinners might be his biggest moment yet. With this film, Ohanian proves that Armenian voices can lead major Hollywood productions and reach global audiences. As Sinners continues to play in theaters across the country around the world, sends clear message: Armenian stories, voice, talent matter, and they're here to stay. Okay. All right. I get it. Let's see. I have not been looking at the comments section at all. Let me see how we go. I'm going to update you guys. All right. I spent 10 minutes here. Looks dry. School. Okay. Yeah. All right. Oops. What's this? Close ads. All right. Let's see. Was another headline. Oops. That's not current. That's old. That's there are a lot of things I could stop on to talk about here. Mhm. I just want to find something to settle on. Men's and women's weightlifting teams. Uh, all right. So the weightlifting, I did want to kind of give a comment about the weightlifting. I'll tell you in a minute. Let's just read this briefly. I'll tell you in a minute, and then I'll fill you in on last night. Armenia makes history. Men's and women's weightlifting teams both ranked number one at European championships. Look at all those beautiful Armenians, the the dark beards. I mean, the Armenian national weightlifting teams have made history for the first time ever. Both men and women's teams finished first in the team rankings. The European weightlifting champions held in Chisinau, Moldova. This is a moment of pride, not just for Armenian weightlifters, but for the entire country. It shows the world the strength, discipline, and talent that Armenian athletes bring to international sports. Armenians have incredible athletes. They do, and in certain categories, so weightlifting, wrestling, things like that. 10 medals for Armenian weightlifters. I don't want to read all this, but I'll just emphasize, when I read this article, it reminded me of how there are fan bases, I guess is the term. There are, like, people become fans of sports teams, right? And so there's a camaraderie, there's a unification around the successes, right? Around some successes of your own people, of your own group, or your in group, or whatever. And so for me, the significance of this is I have a subject that connects to all those subgroups, right? All of those different bubbles that people are in. Say the Armenian weightlifting and the fan base, right? That's a bubble, right? People follow them. People are here, lionize them all across the board. You've got your average kid Armenian who, maybe wants to become a weightlifter and follows it. Then you got your uber rich Armenian businessman who is connected somehow, that is proud of the success of his countrymen. And I'm getting a phone call. Okay, I guess he hung up. And I realized that the thing that I have, it's like the Solomon Talarian story touches every single Armenian subgroup, every single one of them, so that if there is an influential person in that subgroup that finds out about me and what I'm doing, it's an automatic, like, new circle of friends. And I'm saying this because it's happened recently. Is there was somebody who attended the event that the shoot that I held with Taner Akçam a month ago. Somebody was in attendance there, and she is connected to some of these subgroups that I'm talking about, bikers and car clubs, right? Biker clubs and car clubs, call them gangs, whatever. There's several Armenian biker groups and car clubs around LA that she is connected to. And she's very excited about the project, about what I'm doing, and has that, like, she's caught the bug, right? The infection, the infectious energy that I bring, I guess, to the table. She's excited because it's something that can unite Armenians. And so tomorrow, being April 24th, the big day, I'm going to be hanging out with a bunch of bikers and car club kids. And I've seen them before on April 24th. I've been going to some of the events, and I remember walking down to this one group in this parking lot by this memorial. It's all these young kids with their hot rods, they're souped up hot rods, and It's car culture, and it's the Armenian young people. And that crowd, that is an energetic crowd that you want on your side, because the word will spread like wildfire. So, weightlifting, car club, just an example of these subgroups that all will connect. Suddenly, it's kind of like missions work. If you get into a tribe and you have a leader in that tribe convert to Christianity, very oftentimes the entire tribe converts, right? And so if I bring the Armenian hero, knowledge of the Armenian hero, into these subgroups of Armenians, they all get really excited because it's already their story, right? That's what I'm trying to convey here. Okay. Last night. Oh, it was a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. That's not what I wanted to do. That's what I want to do. Yeah, full effect. So I asked my chief of staff. I'm going to call her my producer now, just like Gina's my producer. Producer Christine. Chief of staff is more the political side or the business side. She's producing. My producer Gina. I had my hair up like this when I was prepping for the event, and I was setting up a few things, and then I'm like, I brought some clippers, and I had these wispy hairs back here, and I'm like, hey, can you clean up my neck hair before the event so that I look professional and groomed and everything? And she goes, oh, I'm terrible with that. Just wear your hair down. I'm like, oh. All right. So I wore my hair down last night. And I wore a suit, right? I had a nice suit on, black t-shirt, but my gray suit. And it looked great. So let me tell you, basking. I'm still basking. I am currently basking. It's just taking pleasure in, like, enjoying a moment. And so there was nothing I could do afterward but bask. And that's what I said to Ara at the diner. I'm dwelling in God's glory, right? That's what basking is. Dwelling in the glory of the shining sunlight of the Son of God. So this was an event that somebody reached out to me. All right, let me give you the breakdown. When I held the Taner Akcham event, it was a closed set, invitation only, except somebody snuck in. And it was snuck in. The art exhibit, the guy, Stepan Partamian, who owns the venue for that exhibit, he was having an art exhibit before my event. And before that, I'm talking about the Taner Akcham event, the shoot. He had an art exhibit in there, and then I came in and we set up while they were tearing down. So the guy thought that art exhibit, he's a friend of Stepan Partamian. He thought that art exhibit was going all night, so he showed up late. So he showed up after the art exhibit, right before my thing. And Stepan told him, "Just stick around, just watch it." So he was an invitee of the owner of the venue. So after the event, he reaches out to me. He is excited. He's blown away that I got Taner Akcham and the things that we shared. And he owns his own art exhibit, or his own art studio, that he just opened, just launched. He's a dentist by trade, a successful dentist, but he started his own art exhibit to exhibit his own collection, and it's very nice, very brand new. Just opened it a month ago, so it's all brand new. And he reached out to me saying, I want to host you. I want you to do another one of these. Do it here at my studio. And I went to Christine. I'm like, this guy invited me. We should do it. And she goes, oh, you shouldn't be doing events. We should be focusing on getting the money, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I'll meet with the guy. So I met with the guy and I said, I love it. I would love to do it, but my team owns me. They have to give the green light. So I'm like, this would be great. I'd love to do it, but right. I'm not saying yes. This is what I need to start doing when I meet people. I can't just say yes to everything. I have to defer to my team, right? I have to say, is this going to advance our cause? Is this the right thing to do right now? So I related to Christine. She decided to meet with the guy. And as much as she wanted to say no, she said yes. So last night was the event. And in the lead up, it was this guy wanted to host it. He wanted to invite his friends. We thought he would be the one inviting all his friends. And that's how it should be. I should be the guest, not the host. I should not be putting on the events. The Tanner Akcham was my event, right? I planned the shoot. It was a shoot. It wasn't an event. It was a shoot. It was an event, but I shot the event. But the whole point was to get Tanner Akcham on camera, right? In perpetuity. Now I have solid gold of Tanner Akcham giving me his insights, right? That's just like filmmaker solid gold for what I'm doing. But this was an event. So initially it was like, he's going to fill the place. And then, time was short because he wanted to do it in April, which gave us just a couple of weeks to plan the whole thing. And I'm like, all right, well, so they created an Eventbrite. You had to sign up so they could kind of get a gauge of how many people were coming. So as of 2 days ago, there were 6 people signed up to come. And, we were going to, plan for 50, right? Plan for 50. It's not a huge venue. Maximum in there, you could probably squeeze 100 people in there, but we wanted it to be sit down. We wanted it to be kind of in the round with me sitting. So 50 would be like really, really full. So we planned that. And then, we find out he, being such short notice, there's not a lot of people on such short notice that come. So he has about 10, maybe 15 people coming. I'm like, oh, okay. It's going to be smaller. Let's plan for 20 because I had 4 or 5 people coming. I just told a few people, well, let's plan for 20. So we adjusted our expectations. And I'll talk to any number of people. Like, you guys know, I come here every morning to hang out with you guys. Doesn't matter how many people are here. I'm happy to share whatever with everyone, right? So our expectations, we set them, we adjusted them downward about 20 people. And the guy ended up purchasing about 25 chairs. It was a packed house. It was full. And so there were about 35 people showed. And the chairs that he purchased plus chairs that he already had, every chair was full down to the seat. It was like maybe one seat that was not filled. It was every chair. So, I mean, just the fact that, we literally, it was perfect. It's the first time I did a presentation with kind of the slideshow. I had some excerpts from Tanner that I showed, 4 different excerpts from the interview with Tanner. We went focused on the trial that changed the world, like this verdict, Raphael Lemkin coining the term genocide. We focused on Tanner's background and Soghommon's incredible, contribution to the world in international law. I introduced the notion that Soghomon Tehlirian is the father of international law. I call him the father of international law. And I spoke with confidence, with, sometimes I'll hem and haw because there's so many different directions I want to go in, but I was able to stay very focused, followed the bullet points, that we prepared ahead of time, and had a great question and answer session. And so there were some important people there, people that I want, a couple people from my church, influential people that showed up that I was happy were there and that were very, very pleased, very taken. I had more people come up to me wanting to, this was not a fundraiser, but I had more people come up to me last night wanting to help in that way, right? And somehow contribute than ever, right? At any other event. In fact, I never have people come up wanting to, I've had a few people wanting to help, but this was like, I had Christine there to direct them to. That was significant of this, right? I've had people come up to me in the past, but I didn't have someone to channel them to, because if they give me their information, like I'm not a beggar, right? I'm not here to beg for money. That's not my thing. I'm here to tell this story. And so if you give me your contact information and want to give me money or something, I don't know how to, follow through on that, but I could direct them all to Christine, right? So she had a line of people behind her, taking poor Christine. She's a busy person, but she's a godsend. And here's the real kicker, one of the real kickers last night. My hater showed up. Man, look at this face. Look at this thing that I'm doing, this hair and this beard. What the heck are you doing, Mr. Gavlak? My hater showed up. here's how it happened. So the first hour, the doors open and it's a social hour, right? I had an exhibit. I had a glass case with the selects from the archive, and so I was showing them to people, meeting people, and talking to people. And this one elderly gentleman comes in, and I'm like, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you." He goes, "Is Ara Manoukian here? Is Ara Manoukian here? Is Ara?" I'm like, "What? Do you know him?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know him." And I go to Christine. I'm like, I think my hater's coming. She goes, "How did he find out? How did he find out?" Because this was like kind of we didn't post it publicly, not until the very last minute. And I go back to the old man. I'm like, "So, how do you know Ara is coming?" He goes, "I told him." So somebody that we invited told this old guy who told my hater. And lo and behold, he showed up. He came. And his MO, and hi, Ara, if you're watching. I imagine he's going to watch this. I don't think he's watching live, but I imagine he'll find this and watch it. Hello, it was good to see you last night. His MO is to wait till the Q&A section, and to have his moment to get up and essentially the Shahan Nodley estate disagrees, does not agree with anything that Soghomon Tehlirian estate is doing. That's what he's saying. He doesn't say it that way because I am the Soghomon Tehlirian estate. I had it on display, right? The estate, the actual artifacts. I am sanctioned by the family, the Soghomon Tehlirian estate. I am the Soghomon Tehlirian estate. So when he gets up and he says the Shahan Nodley estate and family foundation does not endorse whatever this guy Michael is doing. In other words, we don't agree with the Soghomon Tehlirian estate. That's his MO. That's what he's done in the past. And it's during the Q&A. And so we were going to have a Q&A, and I'm like, okay, we'll see. And he didn't do anything. He didn't say anything. And I don't presume why we didn't talk. He didn't come up to me at all. Everybody else was coming up to me. He didn't say anything. And I can only speculate. Maybe it's because he knew it was a friendly crowd that would not respond well to his MO. Maybe it's maybe a long shot, but the best case scenario is that he's seeing that I'm sincere and that I'm not a charlatan, that I'm not a con man, that I'm not an exploiter. Maybe he's coming to a senses. Maybe he is having a change of heart. That would be ideal, right? If he's kind of repentant. That's my hope and prayer, right? His grandfather was a genius, and I said it last night in the flow. I mentioned Shahan Nodley's brilliance, and his, not just his brilliance, his vision and determination, right? Wouldn't have happened without him. He deserves all that credit. But Soghomon is the face of Nemesis. He's the one who put his life on the line, and he's the hero. I mean, Shahan is a hero as well. But again, Shahan is not. Soghomon is the Peter. Soghomon is the Jesus counterpart. Shahan is more like the Apostle Peter, right? Incredibly important, essential character, but secondary to the person who put his life on the line. Anyway, so it was wonderful that he showed up and did not cause a disturbance. And was like, it was the best case scenario, best case scenario. And everybody loved it. And it was the high point so far. I keep saying that, but it was like definitely the high point that my public delivery, my public presentation is being honed and crafted and finely tuned. So I'm basking. AC, I'm glad you bring that up because we do have a team member that his mere presence gives me peace. One of our team members, I call him my mafia boss. I have a guy who's kind of connected in that way, right? There's the there's the public leaders, and then there's those who are just kind of, they know their way around the community, if you know what I mean. And it's because I knew, we're going a little long, but because I knew he was there, when I found out, when I anticipate, I thought ahead of time, maybe there's going to be trouble. For example, word gets out that I have the rare artifacts of Solomon Talarian. Some crazed Armenian could stage a theft or a robbery to nab these rare artifacts right out from under our noses, except this one team member of mine that I knew was going to be there. I'm like, oh, that guy, if anything goes wrong, all he has to do is tap a few numbers in his phone and have have support there. So I had a guy there. I have a guy that his mere presence is that security. I won't disclose anything else about him for obvious reasons, but he's on the team. So, all right, time's up. Love you guys. Oh, today I go to meet with my producer, one of my mentor producer, the creator of Home Improvement, Dave McFadden. So pray for me. Love you guys. See you at Bible Every Morning tomorrow.